Budget Committee of Parliament, and this is about the joint effort between our two countries, the DRC and Uganda, to improve the connectivity between our two countries. I think there has been some either misinterpretation, and I've heard that there have been a number of debates, some of them which are diverting the whole issue and asking why Uganda is participating, or why Uganda is developing infrastructure in Congo, and yet we have not finished all our infrastructure demands. So I want to say this, that as a country, we don't operate in isolation. We operate with other countries. We can't exist in isolation. We exist with other countries. So we have also obligations. We have the national obligations. We have bilateral obligations. We have regional obligations. And we have international obligations. Now, the improvement of this infrastructure between us and the DRC is a bilateral and regional obligation. That does not mean that we are not cognizant of the fact that we still have infrastructures to develop in our country, and therefore we should divert resources to the regional or to the bilateral effort. All efforts will need development, and that's not in doubt. Now, the two countries are contributing to ensure that there is improved accessibility on both sides of the borders, both for our people, but also to enable trade amongst our countries. Uganda has been, and you know it, has been on the growth path, and you know this. For those of you who have been around for some time, you remember that by about 1986, we used to import everything, including Elliott bread from Kenya. Bread, we used to import it from Kenya. But now, our industries are up and running, and we are actually exporting. If you want to see how much we're exporting, you could, for example, visit Port Bell one of these days, or the border to Nagana, and see the trucks going out every other day. So our industries are developing, our industries are producing, and therefore we must be able to find the market for the products we are getting. And so when the two presidents met, President Tshisekedi and His Excellency President Yoweri Museveni, they realized that one of the impediments between promoting trade and free movement of people, of our people between the two countries, was the poor road network. And therefore they agreed together that over time we need to develop that infrastructure. And that will help us to promote trade. That will enable goods to move faster. Because for some of you, if any of you have been on the other side of DRC, it can take you about 5 days to move from Kasindi to Beni, which is about 54 kilometers. Something which would take about even less than 8 hours. And it's a nightmare. And most of the trade which goes on there is actually in support of our industries. Today, we are exporting a lot of goods, and you can check with all these industries: Goodwill, tiles, Murwana with the plastics, the steel, the steel factories, and the meat, the fish. All these we are exporting to DRC. But we need to help the traders. We need to help the manufacturers to be able to move their goods faster, which will mean that they will improve on our income. By 2018, our trade with DRC was standing at $532 million. And that has the potential to grow twice if the infrastructure is improved. So this is the reason behind why this infrastructure is being developed. And we need to respond to this regional requirement. As I was telling some of you yesterday, that this is a strategic decision. It's not that Uganda wants to be in Congo, but it's a strategic decision between the two heads of states, which will not only promote trade, It will also promote the relationship, person to person. You know that most of our border tribes are astride on either side. You know that some of the... When our colonial masters were developing the infrastructure, as somebody said, they were developing it in what we call pit to port, or shamba to port. They were developing the infrastructure from our shambas down to Mwanza, down to Mombasa, or down to the ports on the seas. They never envisaged that Africans would reach a time of trading amongst themselves. That one, they knew it would not happen. Only that the products from within the continent would only go out, not within the continent. Now, that has changed over time, and Africans, we should be trading amongst ourselves. And that's the dream now of most of the leaders of Africa. And that's why even we are looking at constructing a trans-African way, all the way from South Africa up to Cairo, so that Africans can be able to trade and be able to interact amongst themselves. I'll make this quote, which was way back in 1959 by the UN Economic Commission. And this is what they say, and I quote: "The most outstanding characteristic of the transportation systems of Africa is the comparative isolation which they have developed within the confines of individual countries and territories. This is reflected in the lack of links between countries and territories within the same geographical sub-region," unquote. This was by the UN Economic Commission in 1959, and the position still is the same. Up to today, we are not yet linked. If you look at Europe, for example, all the countries in Europe, EU, they are all linked. All the countries. You drive from Germany to any country, to Sweden, to wherever, by road. They even put projects together to enable easy movement of the people. I think some of you have heard about the TVG train, which moves even under the tunnel where the Prince Diana died. It was a joint project by all the EU countries to ensure that there is good connectivity. So now we have star coffee, which is processed. We should be able to trade that star coffee with DRC. So it should not be shamba to port. You can now say shamba to the factory, then to interior. So this is the reason why these projects are being developed. As I've said, it's a bilateral effort which should be supported. The total cost of the project will be about $334.5 million. Uganda, we are contributing just 20%, which is $66.9 million. That would enable us now to earn more than the $532 million which we earned in 2018. Of course, if we are going to invest in more of our infrastructure, we need money. We need to earn. We need the taxes. So if we are earning $532 million by 2018, and by participating in this joint venture, we can earn 2 times or 3 times this much, then that will enable us to address our own infrastructure requirement without possibly going back to borrowing by generating our own income. So that's what I wanted to share with you about this project. That is a project which is well conceived. It has good intentions. It's not that we are diverting from our strategic and the manifesto projects which are and the NDP3 projects which we have been told to do. This is specifically as a sub-region and as a regional effort to improve on our well-being and trade between the two countries.